time for In or Out, sponsored by Midas. For tires, brakes, oil, everything, make your appointment at Midas.com today. And we are talking Sixers star Ben Simmons this morning, soon to be former Sixers star Ben Simmons. That, according to Shams, who reported this on the likelihood of a Simmons trade out of Philly. While the 76ers have told teams they are comfortable bringing Simmons back for the 2021-22 season, rival executives believe it's only a matter of time when, not if, the all-defensive team stalwart is moved. For now, all signs continue to point to Simmons' career in Philadelphia coming to an end. Broussard, you in or out on the Sixers needing to trade Simmons this offseason?
I'm in on this, all right? There's a lot of talk out there, a lot of noise out there surrounding this situation. There's talk that Ben Simmons wants out of Philadelphia just as much as they want to trade him. There's talk that he's not returning the calls of Joel Embiid, his co-superstar there in Philadelphia, and that he's not even, returning anybody's calls within the organization. And there is news that maybe he won't even go to training camp. That's how badly he wants out. If there's truth to this noise, then you do have to move him. I get them not wanting to trade him for less than they should get for him, but you don't want him going into training camp when you've got designs on getting to the NBA Finals. And if he goes into training camp and is disgruntled and just brings everybody down with his attitude, and it almost becomes like a James Harden situation in Houston last year, that's not the way you want to start your season. And that would lower his trade value and what teams are willing to offer him even more. I get them wanting to get the great deal, and they want to hold out to get a Damian Lillard if he becomes available, or a Bradley Beal, and that is smart. But if it depends on Simmons' attitude. If he's going to come in next year and ball out and do what he does until he gets moved, that's fine. But if he comes in with an attitude and the noise is suggesting that he will, then I think, Nick, they're going to have to move him sooner rather than later.
Okay, so a few things here. One is, I don't know if he's going to come in with an attitude or not, but I would be shocked if the rumors about him holding out from training camp prove to be true. That is not the history of the player. That's not the history of the player's representation. We've never seen that. And there was not so quiet talk during the James Harden hold in, going out to the clubs, missing the beginning, all of that, of folks around Ben and around other league stars saying how unprofessional they thought that was. So I would be shocked if Ben takes that same path. Now, I do think it's true he wants out. And I think it's pretty true, clearly true, Philly would like to move him. But Shams' report talked about Minnesota and Toronto engaging. Minnesota's trying to engage without including Anthony Edwards. So it's like D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and what? And Toronto, if it's a package centered around Pascal Siakam, that ain't good enough. So I do think Philly is going to hold the line, Wilds. I think they are going to hold the line until maybe, they hope, obviously, Dame requests out. But if Dame doesn't request out, Bradley Beal's not a bad consolation prize. Ben and Bradley Beal make the exact same amount of money, and that's a trade, one could argue, it's 1 for 1. The Wizards get Ben with 4 years left on his deal. Now that Russ is gone, right, he fits better on that team. You can kind of build around him because Ben and Russ didn't really make sense together on the same team. To me, that's a real possibility. But Philly cannot trade Ben Simmons for 60 cents on the dollar for a D'Angelo Russell or Pascal Siakam package. You just can't do it. It'll set the franchise back years. And one other thing, just real quick, Embiid's only got 2 years left on his deal. Like, Daryl's got to be thinking, we can't run the risk of trading Ben Simmons 50 cents on the dollar because it doesn't fit with Embiid. Then we're not good enough, and Embiid starts wandering eyes. So this is a massive spot for them.
Yeah, so we all know what we want to happen. We need to stop the charade that either Philadelphia or Portland are going to advance any further than they historically have with the teams as they currently are built, and Ben and Dame should switch spots, Broussard. Portland needs a rebuild. Philly needs a remodel. We'll start with Portland. For the last 5 years, Portland's had 4 first-round exits, 1 conference finals sweep, and they're out of there. They didn't get markedly better. I think Larry Nance Jr. is a nice player. He's not putting you over the top. Chauncey's in there. I think Chauncey should build Portland just like he had the Pistons. On defense, which we know Ben likes, surround him with some guys. Let all 5 guys score in double figures. I don't think they're going to get like a monstrous star to score 30 points. Build them like the Pistons. Build a real defensive team. See if you can get Tybalt too. That would be a great start for Portland that needs to start over. And then when you talk about Dame, he needs to ask out. Because if the Ben Bradley Beal thing happens and then Dame wants to go, where is he going? The Warriors? I mean, I guess so. The Lakers, I think, is fake. But I think Philly is a perfect spot for Dame. Attitude-wise, the Oakland-Philly connection feels like Cousins on the coast. He's so loyal. He's got that sort of like hard-nosed, like tough edge that I think Philly would just embrace. Also, Philly gets the three-point shooting that they wanted. Daryl built the Rockets to bomb threes. And then they get there, not shooting any threes. They shot the 5th fewest threes. Dame would come in and bomb threes. I think it would be the best for Dame. I think it'd be best for Ben. It'd be best for Portland in the long term. Be best for Philly in the short term. They would immediately start to contend with Brooklyn and Milwaukee if Dame was on that squad.
You're right, Wiles. I mean, Damian Lillard needs to go into Portland. Tell Neil O'Shea, look, I'm ready to move.
Yes.
On. All right, go get Ben Simmons.
Yes.
They can build around him and send me to Philadelphia. The problem is I don't think Dame's going to do it. And I'm not sure how high, which is baffling to me, but I'm not sure how high Dame is on going to Philadelphia. The New York stuff is real. Like, he likes New York.
Okay.
There's still a part of him, I'm told, that he's still not high on joining somebody else and some other superstars, and it's not his team. He does kind of want to win the old-fashioned way, but he's not going to do that. He goes to New York, that's a lateral move. All right, you're not winning in New York with that squad. He needs to go to Philadelphia, but I think what he's going to do is start training camp in Portland, and there's talk that maybe at the trade deadline, I don't know. He might stay there all year. They go out early in the playoffs, as they typically do, and then next season he wants a trade. But the Philadelphia thing might be out of possibility at that point.
All right, real quick. First of all, I know I've made a grievous error when the moment I finish talking, my phone just starts buzzing from 4 different people. I totally forgot Embiid signed his extension. So the 2 years he had left on his deal, add 4 more to it. So I screwed that one up. My apologies.
Mine
the other
was
points
buzzing
remain.
too, but it was my friend
on
Marty.
the Lillard, I mean, just so embarrassing. Dusty texts me, our old friend Vinny Goodwill texts me, someone with the Sixers texts me. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Nick, this is your job is to know these things. My apologies. Forgot Embiid signed the extension. All right, now, more importantly, all of us want the Dame thing to happen. While I think Philly can hold the line for now, I don't think they can hold the line for 365 days or 335 days, right? And I don't think Dame is asking out before the year. I don't know that he's asking out during the year. So if you're Philly, I know the Bradley Beal stuff has always been focused on, well, unless, Beal's not asking out for now. I think Daryl needs to call up Washington and try to convince them, hey, you guys need to tell Bradley he should move on. Like, it's better because we talk about, Wilds, you talk about Portland being stuck. Washington is stuck just on a far lower tier.
Agreed.
And everybody likes Beal, but they are not they can barely compete to make the playoffs in the East. Portland's like, we want to make the conference finals more than once in a decade. So they're stuck similarly, but in a worse spot. And it's an easier trade to make. Because I think Ben and Dame, the Sixers have to add more stuff. They probably got to add either Tybalt or Maxey and a pick. I think Ben for Beal, can be 1 for 1. You might say Beal right now has slightly higher stock in the league, but Ben's younger and on a longer contract. So those two kind of wash. The money's the exact same. I know the goal was Damian Lillard, but what you don't want to do is shoot for the stars and end up with, as your buddy Bill Simmons would say, a Pascal Siakam poo-poo platter. At least just set your sights a little bit low.